Lu Meilan, a 31-year-old yoga instructor based in Haikou, was widely admired for her vibrant and outgoing personality. Her warmth and openness made her a beloved figure within her community, with a wide circle of close friends, including a man named U. However, on November 20th, 2012, a troubling mystery began to unfold that perplexed everyone who knew her. On that day, U needed to urgently discuss some important matters with Lu, but despite repeated attempts, he couldn't reach her. After several unanswered phone calls, he felt a growing sense of unease. Driven by the urgency of his matters, U decided to visit her directly. He went to the Feng Xiang building where Lu resided, but even after repeatedly knocking on her door, there was no sign of her. Considering Lu's limited family connections in Haikou and the close-knit nature of her friendships, U found it extremely odd and unsettling that she was nowhere to be found. Worried about her safety, U rushed to the nearest police station to report Lu missing. The police quickly responded by visiting her apartment. Echoing U's earlier experience, they too were met with silence despite persistent knocking. The situation escalated to the point where, driven by concern for Lu's welfare, they decided to forcibly enter her apartment. Inside, the apartment was hauntingly silent and eerily pristine. Lu's belongings, including her wallet, mobile phone, and other valuables, were untouched, and her car was still parked as usual downstairs. This ruled out robbery or abduction, and with her identification and other personal documents found intact, there was little to suggest she had planned any sudden long-distance travel. The mystery deepened as there was no evidence of a struggle or any sign of forced exit within the apartment. The question arose, had Lu Meilan been coerced out of her own home under mysterious circumstances? Where could she possibly be, and was she in danger? These pressing questions spurred the police into immediate action. In the investigation that followed, Yu mentioned that the last time he saw Liu was on the morning before her disappearance. Everything had seemed normal then, and Lu had even mentioned plans to meet a friend named Yan later in the afternoon. This detail led the police to focus on Mr. Yan, a businessman who owned a building materials company and a former employer of Lu before she had resigned to pursue her passion for yoga. Despite no longer working together, Lu maintained friendships with many of her former colleagues, and Yan, knowing her popularity and the respect she commanded among her peers, had specifically invited her to a company dinner. Yan recalled the dinner party as a cheerful event that lasted until 9 in the evening, with Liu leaving on her own. The next day, when one of Yan's friends expressed an interest in learning yoga, Yan attempted to contact Lu to connect the two, but found to his dismay that all calls went unanswered. The police, probing for leads, found nothing substantial in Yan's statements that could explain Lu's sudden disappearance. At this critical juncture, Lu's brother Lu Wenchu became aware of the situation and immediately rushed to Haikou. Given their close relationship, Lu Wenchu was well acquainted with his sister's life and habits. The police, hoping to uncover new insights, brought him to the scene of the investigation. Would the presence of Liu Wenchu shed light on aspects of Lu Meilan's life that were previously overlooked? Could his intimate knowledge of his sister help unravel the threads of this perplexing case? The investigation continued, with every new fact pointing towards a deeper and more intricate puzzle. When Lu Wenchu stepped into the home of his sister, Lu Meilan, his eyes were tinged with red, a visible testament to his mounting fear and anxiety. Each step he took towards her residence seemed to amplify his trepidation, with troubling thoughts swirling relentlessly about his sister's mysterious disappearance. On this second visit, the investigative team, now more familiar with the layout of the house, delved deeper, scrutinizing details that might have been overlooked during the initial examination. Despite the absence of any visible disturbance, the furniture impeccably arranged as if Lu Meilan had just stepped out, an unsettling anomaly caught the team's attention right at the entrance. A lone, fairly new blue slipper. Pairs of slippers are customary, so the sight of just one sparked curiosity. Where was its counterpart? A thorough search later uncovered the other slipper under a sofa in the bedroom. Why were these slippers found in such disparate locations? This was not the only peculiarity that the investigative team faced. The house boasted 2 bedrooms, the second of which, though currently unoccupied, was meticulously maintained by Lou Malan, who covered the mattress to keep it clean, a testament to her meticulous nature. Lou Malan also had a pet dog, yet, intriguingly, there was no sign of the pet when the police first entered her home. On examining the second bedroom further, they discovered an empty bed devoid of its usual bedsheet. Could there be a link between its disappearance and that of Lou Malan? The investigation deepened when, in the bathroom, another team discovered a pair of women's black underwear. Given Lou Malan's penchant for cleanliness, a trait confirmed by Lu Wenchu, it was out of character for her to leave her laundry unattended, especially as someone who wouldn't typically rush through her routines. This raised yet another red flag for the investigators. Despite thorough checks, there were no signs of forced entry at the doors, no disturbances at the windows, nor any evidence of a struggle within the residence. Yet the accumulation of these anomalies led the criminal investigators to suspect that Lou Malan's disappearance was far from straightforward. They theorized she might have been forced to flee hastily or could have been abducted. During the period of her disappearance, there were no ransom demands and no signs of robbery, which brought the investigators to a chilling possibility that was hard to consider: murder. But if Lou Malan was indeed murdered, what could have been the motive? The ongoing investigation painted her as a gentle, caring individual without known enemies, financial disputes, or debts. She was a law-abiding and diligent person. The police speculated that it could have been a crime of passion, prompting them to widen the scope of their inquiry. Yet Lou Malan was a single woman with no boyfriend, which led to another disturbing question. Could unreciprocated affection from an admirer have turned into a deadly resentment? In the quiet neighborhood where Lou Malan lived, the local police sought to uncover the sequence of events leading to her mysterious disappearance. They approached the security guard at her residential complex, seeking any clues that might illuminate her whereabouts. The guard informed them that Lou had not left her apartment on the day she vanished, nor had he noticed any unusual visitors. This detail was particularly frustrating as the elevator's surveillance system, potentially a crucial witness, was unfortunately malfunctioning at the time, leaving a significant gap in the evidence. With dead ends looming, the investigative team pivoted their strategy to closely interrogate those within Lou's personal circle. This led them to Mr. Wu and Mr. Yan, individuals she had been in contact with before disappearing. Despite their clear movements and solid alibis, the mystery only deepened. The breakthrough came unexpectedly when Lu Wenchu, her brother, mentioned a past boyfriend, Peng Yulong. A young man from Wuhan, Hubei, 24 years old, had a turbulent history with Liu. The police were quick to track him down for questioning. Peng Yulong was forthcoming during the interrogation, admitting to a recent visit to Lu's apartment under the guise of taking her dog for a veterinary checkup, not staying long. He claimed to have left around 11 a.m. for a business meeting in Wenchang City, corroborated by a colleague at the Wenchang City Land and Resources Bureau. Unfortunately, due to the damaged surveillance at the Fengxiang building, verifying Peng's exact timeline through video was impossible. However, further investigation at the pet hospital corroborated his story about the dog's appointment on the 19th, bolstering his alibi. Despite this, the mysterious circumstances surrounding Lu's disappearance prompted the police to revisit her apartment a third time. Inside, everything was in its place, suggesting a calm environment. Lu Wenchu, examining the contents of her wardrobe more closely, made a startling discovery: a missing nightgown. It seemed possible that Lu might have been abducted while wearing only the nightgown, as there were no signs of a struggle, suggesting that the perpetrator might have been someone she knew. Renewing their focus on Peng Yulong, given he was the last to see her, and due to the oddities in his statements, the police probed deeper. They questioned the security guard if anyone frequently visited Liu. He described a heavy-set man who often came to her apartment, pointing again towards Peng Yulong. The police confronted Peng again, pressing for detailed accounts of his activities on the day of the incident. Peng insisted he wasn't alone, claiming he was accompanied by Shen Yisheng, his teammate, who supposedly waited downstairs while he visited Liu. However, Shen's testimony starkly contradicted Peng's. Shen claimed that Peng had left alone that morning and only picked him up around noon to head to Wencheng. This discrepancy raised alarms, suggesting that they had not synchronized their stories, possibly hiding the truth. Determined to unravel the mystery, the police investigated Peng's residence, meticulously reviewing the building's surveillance footage. They observed two men with a suitcase not using the elevator, but instead taking the stairwell to the 16th floor. The suspicious behavior led to intense police interrogation, during which Peng Yulong finally confessed to the unthinkable. He had killed Lu Malan, and the suitcase had chillingly contained her body. This revelation of a brutal crime, rooted in personal connections, shook the community, leaving many pondering the dark motives behind Peng Yulong's actions and the tragic fate of Lu Malan. The investigation, once teetering on the brink of a cold case, had now exposed a tale of betrayal and hidden violence, bringing a somber closure to the haunting question of Lu Malan's disappearance. During a tense police interrogation, Peng Yulong maintained a disturbing calm as he recounted the convoluted tale of love, deceit, and downfall that entangled him with Lu Malan. Their story began in 2011 when Peng, freshly introduced to Xiaoli, embarked on a whirlwind romance that quickly escalated to marriage and the birth of a child within a year. Confronted with the soaring expenses of family life, Peng relocated to Haikou to earn a better living, leaving his wife and child in the care of his wife in Hubei. In 2012, the threads of fate drew Lu Malan and Peng together through the social platform WeChat Shake. Their casual chats soon blossomed into a deep friendship. Unbeknownst to Lu, Peng was already married, a fact he conveniently omitted as their relationship deepened. Their first meeting sparked an undeniable attraction. Peng was captivated by Lu's beauty and vibrant personality, discovering she was a yoga instructor, which only fueled his infatuation. Swept up by emotion, Peng pursued Lu relentlessly, neglecting his marital vows in the process. Liu, charmed by his attentions, fell in love, and the pair began a passionate affair that led to her pregnancy. As reality set in, Peng's joy at the news of Lu's pregnancy was overshadowed by the complexity of his situation. He resolved to divorce his wife and propose to Lu, envisaging a future together. However, his wife staunchly refused to end their marriage, leading to a heated confrontation that ultimately left her agreeing to a divorce under duress. Meanwhile, Lu, observing Peng's evasive behavior around marriage discussions and sensing the fragility of their situation, took matters into her own hands. A clandestine glance at Peng's phone while he slept revealed the truth of his other life, prompting her to demand a breakup. Devastated but determined, Peng begged for forgiveness and promised a swift divorce, rushing home to sever ties with his past. His wife's final capitulation to divorce did little to salvage his relationship with Lu, who during his absence had undergone an abortion and found solace in the arms of another man. Upon learning of her new relationship, Peng, who had sacrificed so much for Lu, was consumed by a sense of betrayal and rejection. His love twisted into obsession. He bombarded her with calls, each one a desperate plea for reconciliation. But Lu's patience wore thin, and she severed all communication, igniting Peng's fury. His obsession spiraling into rage, Peng was haunted daily by thoughts of Lu. When a message from her surfaced on his phone, seemingly a mundane request to care for the sick dog he had given her, Peng saw a chance to reclaim her affection. However, hidden beneath this benign request was a sinister plot. That evening, he enlisted his subordinate, Shen Yisheng, in a chilling exercise to train his courage, suggesting murder as a macabre form of preparation. The following morning, fueled by delusion and anger, Peng confronted Lu at her apartment. Despite initial pleasantries, their conversation soon deteriorated, with Lu firmly stating they had no future. Peng's frustration erupted into violence. He attacked Lu, and in the ensuing chaos, he strangled her into unconsciousness. Convinced she would report him to the police, Peng, with Shen's reluctant assistance, bound and gagged Lu, placing her lifeless body into a suitcase. In a grim conclusion, Peng and Shen, believing they were merely hiding evidence of an assault, inadvertently concealed Lu's death. It was only upon returning home that Peng realized the gravity of his actions. Lu was dead. The two then desperately sought to dispose of the evidence, ultimately leading the police to the horrific discovery of Lu's body dumped clandestinely. On the somber morning of August 7, 2013, the solemn chambers of the Haikou City Court became the scene of a dramatic conclusion to a harrowing case that had captured the public's attention. Peng Yulong, the man at the heart of the tragic unraveling of Lu Meilan's life, stood before the court facing the gravest of sentences. In a decision that resonated with the severity of his actions, the court sentenced Peng Yulong to death, stripping him permanently of his political rights as a stark reminder of the irreparable harm he had caused. Beside him, Shen Yisheng, Peng's accomplice in the grim saga, received a similarly severe punishment. He was sentenced to death as well, but with a 2-year reprieve, offering a brief window of reflection on the irreversible choices he had made. Additionally, both men were mandated to provide monetary compensation to Lu Meilan's family, a meager attempt to address the immeasurable loss suffered in the accompanying civil lawsuit. The initial verdict, however, did not mark the end of their legal journey. Both Peng Yulong and Shen Yisheng, dissatisfied with the court's decision, sought redress through the appellate system, challenging the sentences in a move that prolonged the anguish of all involved. Their appeals carried the case into the next year until, on March 14, 2014, the Higher People's Court of Hainan Province delivered its final word. The appeals were dismissed and the original sentences upheld, closing any further doors to legal challenges and solidifying the initial judgment. This ruling not only concluded the legal proceedings, but also marked a poignant moment of closure for the community and, more intimately, for the grieving family of Lu Meilan. The law had responded with its sternest measures, allowing the innocent soul of Lu Meilan to finally rest in peace, her memory vindicated by the rigid hand of justice. Yet despite the legal closure, the emotional wounds for those left behind remained raw and profound. Lu Meilan's parents, who had lost more than just a daughter, they had lost the future they had envisioned with her, faced a lifetime of sorrow. The verdict, while delivering justice, could not alleviate the enduring heartache of a life snatched so cruelly and so prematurely. As the gavel fell and the sentences were executed, the community and Lu Meilan's family were left to ponder the enduring cost of human malice and the fragile nature of justice in mending broken hearts.